Hi everyone, I'm Dan and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. Today we are going to be taking a look at the latest Transformers Gears figure released in the Legacy United line of Transformers, and we are going to compare him to the generations around the Thrilling 30 era Gears figure. There is a difference in size in these figures, there's a difference in weapons and transformation. We're going to take a look at all of that and see if we can't figure out which version of Gears is better.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So as usual, the first round on a which is better figure comparison is the paint and overall appearance round. And looking at these two gear figures, we're starting off in vehicle mode, but I do want to make mention that the Generations Gears only has one spot for a weapon, which is up here. You can already see that Eclipse, his Minicon weapon, was plugged into it. We're going to move the weapons aside for now, but that's the only spot for a weapon, and this is going to factor into this conversation a little bit. Looking at this one, the new Legacy United Gears, we have two weapon ports in the front, two on the back. In fact, the gun is plugged into one, and two up top. So there's a lot more weapon ports on this Gears than on the Generations one. So the Legacy United one already has quite a few more ports for their weapons. The other thing that I want to talk about is how close to G1 accurate show colors is this figure. And I gotta be honest with you, looking at the Legacy United one, like, this is what I remember Gears looking like on the show. It might not be a perfect representation, especially in the back where his chest piece is just kind of flipped up here, but it is a pretty good representation for what I remember. This one doesn't really look like Gears to me. The Generations one just kind of looks like a weird pickup truck that forgot to keep the bed open or something. So, you know, there is that against it. I also think this one is a much lighter shade of blue than my Thrilling 30 one. But I'm going to transform both of these real quick so we can compare their robot modes. And to transform them, it is pretty straightforward. Gears, you just flip his legs out on the Generations one, kind of straighten out his crotch piece, which is also part of his chest, bring his arms down, and tuck this back. So this was a legend scale figure. You know, this is what it looks like now. It's in a robot mode. Great. The transformation on the Legacy United one is a little more complicated. Not very complicated, but start by folding this piece back and then the whole thing down like that. You can then take the legs and flip them forward. These window pieces become his heel spurs, so they just tuck up into his heels. There you go. It would help if my hand wasn't blocking the light source. From there, you can undo the front of the vehicle, tuck these wheels in like this, and just connect it like that. Bring the arms out. They unfold very simply. And then you bring this whole chest piece, I'm sorry, fold the wheels in first, and then bring the whole chest up. Give everything a good squeeze so that it is nice and connected. Looking at these two, you know, I tend to go with animation accuracy. This one is looking very accurate to the cartoon. Sometimes for reasons that don't, it's almost too accurate. We'll talk about my complaints about it in just a second. This one, you know, it was a repaint of Swerve, so it's not a dedicated Gears mold. They tried to kind of have the head crest here by putting these things on his side, but I don't think it looks as great. And even the chest doesn't really remind me of Gears. This is what I was using for the longest time on my shelf, but it's not, you know, I wouldn't say that it's like perfect by any means. Also, the wheels being attached to the arms and being part of his shoulders is a little strange. This Gears, this is what it looks like to me in the cartoon when I think of it. The one thing that kind of bothers me, and I don't know how they would have done it, you know, this is how it was done in animation. Like, this is, his whole head is this entire piece. So when you move it, it's like you're moving this entire block, which is a little strange to me, but it could be worse. So thinking about paint and overall appearance and how close it is to what I remember seeing in the G1 cartoon, I'm giving round one to the Legacy United version of Gears. My second round is about the articulation of these figures, and the Generations Gears has movement here at the arm, so the arm can go all the way around. It is on a ball joint, so you can kind of move it in some interesting ways. elbow bend, also on a ball joint, so there is rotation here, so you can kind of have his hands at his hips if you wanted to, something like that. Not terrible. There is some head movement, but you kind of got to move this hood piece to really access it, and it's very impeded by these shoulder pylons. I don't know what to call them. Nothing at the waist. He doesn't articulate at the waist. There is leg movement, again, all ball joints, so you can just kind of move it all around. Nice deep knee bend, as you can see. In fact, because of transformation, it goes all the way back. But that is it. So not the most articulation that I've ever seen, not the worst. Looking at the Legacy United one, starting at the head, we do have the head on a ball joint, so it can move up and down a little bit. It can move left and right. You can totally twirl it all around if you want to. He does have waist articulation here, so he can spin fully around, which is nice. In terms of his arms, because of the transformation joint, you can kind of get his shoulders to either go back or forward. So if you want to make it look like he's like punching someone, you can do that. Full rotation, 360 at the shoulder. They also go out. There is rotation here at the bicep. Double jointed elbow, which is very nice. Hands also have rotation. Going down to the legs, we have legs kicking all the way forward, kicking backwards as well, and kicking out. So, you know, he can do a full Van Damme if you want him to. He also has rotation up here at the thigh. There is a double jointed knee, again, for transformation, but deep bend in there. And then you also have articulation at the ankle. We do have that ankle rocker that Transformers are sporting. So, really, you can probably tell right away which one I'm going with. Winner for the articulation round is going to be my Legacy United Gears. He just moves a lot nicer. Let's talk about accessories. The Generation Gears comes with a little mini-con of sorts called Eclipse, and I do want to show this off because he does transform. You know, you can kind of tuck the cockpit back here, flip the wings back, and hey, you can put his arms out. You have a little mini-con. This mini-con also does turn into a weapon. You can, I gotta remember how to do this now. There we go. You can pop this part down like this. So basically you're bringing his legs above his head. Interesting position. You can bring the handle down, and you can have this as a gun. And, you know, there is a bit of a hidden kind of triple blaster there, triple barrel blaster there. So it goes in his hand very simply, like this. So you have Gears with a very, very large blaster. Almost comically large, if I'm being honest. But it still looks, you know, pretty cool. I like that you get something like a mini-con that transforms. It's almost like a Target Master. I find that to be a fun gimmick. In terms of accessories for the Legacy United Gears, he comes with this black pistol. And it's just that. It's a black pistol. It's neat. It's fun. It definitely fits for what you would want Gears to have. I don't really know what else you would really need him to have. But, you know, just being honest here, I like the playability of the Generations one. Having a little robot that turns into a blaster is neat, and quite honestly, the Legacy United Gears can probably hold on to this because it's just another 5mm port. So if you want Gears to have, if you have this old one and you want to give your Legacy United one a big honking weapon like this, you can. You can have him dual-wielding blasters, which is always neat. I like when we can do crazy things like this with Transformers. So because I like this blaster just so much better, I like the Eclipse character, or mini-con. There's not much of a characterization with him, but I like him. I think he's fun, so I'm going to give this round to the Generation version of Gears, because that's just a fun blaster to have, man. My fourth round is the price and availability of these characters. The Generations Gears, you know, he's a couple years old now, number of years old. Online on eBay, I've seen him sell for between $15 to $20. Again, that is online. Maybe you'll find him in a vintage shop for cheaper or something like that. Maybe you can find a better deal on a message board or something. 15 to 20 is not bad, but he was significantly cheaper when he came out. I want to say these Legend Class guys were like $7 maybe less when these originally came out. Clearly people want a Gears figure, so that's why he's commanding the price he is. Our Legacy United Gears, rather, can probably be found in stores now for around $25. This is a pretty nice looking figure and just widely available. His price is probably going to go up if you don't act soon. There is always that fear with Transformers that, you know, maybe distribution might not be great, maybe you might not find them as quick as you want to, but this Gears might be selling for $25 in stores. You wait a little longer, you might go up. So thinking about, you know, what you have to do to get this one, while $20 is less than $25, it might be easier to find him in a store. I'll admit, I got him off Hasbro Pulse, did a pre-order, it came to me real quick. I can't sit here and say that I had a hard time looking for it. I tend to online order a lot these days, it just is easier for me. So really weighing these two options, I think you're going to have an easier time getting this Gears now, because you can probably get them online as of this recording. You might be able to find them in a store if you don't do online shopping. I think it's just going to be the easier one to track down. $25 isn't bad for what you're getting, whereas for this, having to pay between $15 to $20, I don't think that this little figure is worth that much. So thinking about all that, that's why I'm giving this round to Gears from Legacy United. I think he's definitely the winner of my fourth round. As usual, my final round is about the display compatibility of these characters. Your mileage is going to vary, but I have been buying these upscaled mini-bots that Hasbro has been doing, you know, characters like Bumblebee and characters like Brawn, who they make new versions of. You know, they were original mini-bots and now they're like small deluxe size figures. I'm trying to make my shelf look as cohesive and together as possible. Bumblebee is a little small, I'll be honest. You know, Bumblebee scales well with the Generations. Cliffjumper, this was the War for Cybertron Netflix cartoon Bumblebee. I think he was a Walmart exclusive. Brawn is the Studio Series Brawn. Gears is Legacy United Gears. I could pull Huffer in here if I wanted to. I could pull other characters. But looking at this and where my two Gears kind of scale, honestly, I really like the look of this one. I'm okay with upgrading my old Legends class toys, smaller class, core class toys, to this, you know, like small deluxe size, because I think they're looking good. And honestly, their transformations are getting better. Their articulation is getting better. I was expecting Gears to be a redo of Brawn, like a cheap, easy repaint. These are very, very different figures. I want to put that out there too. So we're not just getting a bunch of little repaints. You know, I mentioned that this Gears, the Generations one, was a repaint and remold of the Swerve figure. So pretty much same body. I probably should have pulled him out. But, you know, now we have these figures that have their own identities, get to look different from other things. And I think that's important on a shelf. You're going to have characters who aren't really looking the same as someone on a shelf, you know, somewhere down the line or on a shelf slightly next to them or something. So that is important to me. So because of that, round 5 is going to this version of Gears. I just think that it's going to display better on my shelf. So stealing his blaster and chasing him off my shelf, the Legacy United version of Gears wins out on this edition of Which Is Better. Look, I don't think the old Gears is a bad toy. I still think it's a neat kind of fiddled character, fiddle figure. Might be a fun desk bot or something, but the new one definitely wins for a lot of the reasons. I really still do like the old one's weapon, and I'm debating letting my new Gears hold on to this weapon because I think it is just that cool. But this is where the cards land this time on Which Is Better. I would love to know your opinion and your feedback, so let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, I've been Dan. You've been pretty awesome. I'll see you around. Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.